fishing news is brought to you by a band of anglers: Yozori, Hummingbird Minn Kota, Lamaglass, Navionics, and Carteret Waterfront Park.
Social distancing. I think it's a term that could have easily been coined by fishermen, and now I believe it's going to be part of our American vernacular for quite a long time. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey, Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. I know a lot of folks turn to the weekly video forecast to get away from politics and get away from the national headlines, but I think it's important to kind of focus on the situation with the coronavirus and all these government edicts in terms of how that applies to recreational fishing in the state of angling. So let's go through this real quick to summarize Governor Murphy's press conference in terms of fishermen and how we relate. Schools, of course, are closed until further notice. An 8 p.m. curfew is requested. It's requested, folks. It's not a mandatory martial law. It is a requested curfew. We know the bars are closed and the restaurants are takeout and delivery only. I think of Betty and Nick's. They're doing curbside. If you go to the luncheonette. Tackle shops, of course, can stay open. They're a retail business. They can stay open until 8 p.m. So basically, the way I read Governor Murphy's message, so long as there aren't 50 other customers in that tackle shop, you can sneak in there, walk in, get what you need to fish, and feed your family, and go fish. That's the way I see it, standing currently. Of course, that's the middle of this week, right after St. Patrick's Day. Anything could change. It could change quickly. But as far as when we're doing this and heading into the weekend, these are the considerations you should have and know based on Governor Murphy's press conference and statement. Now, I've been getting questions about the party boats. Again, back to the governor's official statement. All gatherings of persons in the state of New Jersey shall be limited to 50 persons or fewer, with limited exceptions. It's a retail business. Party boat is allowed to operate the way I see it. Just practice your social distancing and have at it with those cod, pollock, ling, hake, and porgies. Again, this is how I read it. Things could change. We stay paying attention to the news on a regular basis. But in terms of fishing, that's the way I see it. Sandy Hook, it's open. Go fish. Island Beach, open. Corsons. The state parks and Gateway at Sandy Hook, it's open, but the facilities themselves are closed. So state parks are open in New Jersey. That's the trails, the lakes, the public ramps. However, the facilities, the offices, the park offices are not open for business. When I say facilities, that means the restrooms. But I will tell you this, the DEP Commissioner Catherine McCabe said herself this week, quote, "Keeping state-owned open spaces available to the public is important so people can continue to enjoy the healthful benefits of recreation and being outdoors." Big time statement from the state of New Jersey. State of Delaware, same thing. The DNREC said the same. Fishing license purchases are online now, same as they are in New Jersey. But Delaware wildlife areas are open with no admission fee while park buildings and offices are closed. Now again, with all this information midweek and heading into the weekend, that's the way we see things right now. The idea is enjoy it, go fish. I can't help but think sometimes, a little editorial here, but so many people I met in urban settings over the years, when they found out that I hunted and fished, they were fascinated. Oh, you hunt and you fish. Well, those who sometimes come to rely on fresh meat that they get at the supermarket are suddenly going nuts. The toilet paper fiasco. You can't find anything in the supermarkets. The sensational headlines, to me, sometimes scream a little bit of hypocrisy from some of the antis. And when I see the science fiction-like scenes playing out in these supermarkets, I can't help but think even more about being outdoors. We know the situation. The schools are closed. All these after-school programs, the baseball, the hockey, everything is done. So what does that leave us? It leaves us go fishing. Folks, it's allowed. It's even being supported and encouraged in many ways. So many of our friends and neighbors who perhaps didn't fish yesterday, let's take an opportunity perhaps to introduce them to fishing today and for tomorrow. It's what we have always referred to as a little bit of social distancing. It's what it's always been about with the fishermen. Young Brody, for example, got himself all rigged and ready to go with a Fishing Nation's rod and reel with Phil and the crew at the tackle box, wormed himself up some stripers along the Raritan Bay shore. That's a good bite, especially as this sun continues to beat down on those muddy flats. Tuckerton area Sharpie, Gary Adair. He had stopped into Scott's Bait and Tackle in Mystic Island, bumped into young Ben here, who said, I want to go catch some stripers. Well, lo and behold, Gary put young Ben on to 20 bass this past weekend, up to 25 inches. You think Ben is hooked for life? I dare say he is. Or Samantha Selder here. She was out on the beach at Brigantine on Sunday. In fact, Andy at Riptide Bait and Tackle said there was a hot little bite there over the weekend. A lot of smaller fish, but boy, does that look fantastic. How about that? Catch, kiss, and release. Well done, Samantha. Even if it's just a quick trip to the local pond or lake to wet a line, Michael Newhall had self-quarantined with his dad, Captain Scott, to enjoy some of the pickerel action on one of the South Jersey lakes. That's what it's all about. You take a big bag of lemons and you make a big batch of lemonade. Some lemonade. Make time. Make the most of your time. Enjoy your family time. Take advantage of it. Get out there and social distance with the loved ones. If you can get away from those back-based stripers, the white perch bite, especially down south, South Jersey, areas of the Great Egg and the Mullica River, still pretty darn good. In fact, Sean Riley himself from Waterfront Marine got up there upriver a little bit, enjoyed some of the perch. I mentioned those after-school sporting events. Little League may be impacted. Well, the kids want to compete. You might want to get them into the white perch competition. David Absecon Bay Sportsman Center has his white perch tournament. It's going on all spring. In fact, there are 3 monthly segments, March, April, and May. Some of the public events, Saltwater Fishing Expo over the weekend, so many public events are being postponed, but here's a great opportunity for you to participate in a contest where you don't have to have so many people piled up on one another. And in areas of the Barnegat Bay, Manasquan and Shark River, you can enjoy the sun by boat or bulkhead, get in on some of those winter flounder. I saw Jason from Fisherman Supply middle of this week. He sneaked out for an hour or two, boxed up a quick limit. I guess he got back to the shop before anybody noticed he was gone. I did, though. Almost jumped on his spot. So we are finding some people that are finding plenty of winter flounder, and I think the fact is there's a lot of winter flounder out there, but with a 2-fish bag limit, a lot of folks aren't trying for them. But what a great way to enjoy a couple of family hours with a chum log, some bloodworms, again, by boat or bulkhead. It's certainly a great opportunity for you to enjoy some fishing time. New Jersey stocking efforts, the trout stocking. They moved everything up a couple of weeks. All right, so most of the trout stocked waters are already stocked with trout. And March 23rd is the preseason closure. So you have another week or so to enjoy that action with the rainbow trout before we go into the March 23rd to the April 11th opening day ceremonies. So you still have that opportunity. In fact, Chris Lito let me know he was sneaked out this week with a black stone hackle, soft hackle, and got in on some of that rainbow trout action, netted himself a good fish. And don't forget, with that freshwater fishing license, you don't have to go into an office or a tackle shop. You can do that online by going to the New Jersey Division of Fish and Wildlife's website, and you can get your freshwater license and trout stamp online. Keep in mind, we're all in the same boat or bank bulkhead. We've got to live in this together. We've got to work through this together. So best opportunity, I think, is to get outdoors and enjoy some fishing time. I know that's what my buddy George, the Pocono Outdoors guy, said.
Well, hey, thanks, Jim. Beautiful day here at the lake. Happy first day of spring to everybody. You know, all the anxiety in the news, it's good to get out a little bit with family. This past weekend, I took some time to get out with my son, Jeremy, looking to get on that striper bite for those spring sweetwater stripers. Now, water temps are only about low 40s to mid 40s, so I think we were a little bit early, but we're going to keep working them, and we'll let you know when that bite is on. But what bite is on is we had Rich Baits up doing some jerk baiting up in the upper Delaware and managed to get into some beautiful brown trout. Check out this beast. Well, it was a good catch and release, but that jerk bait technique, guys, we've been telling you about that all season long. That's been producing trout, salmon, even some smallmouth. It's been a great presentation, so be sure you try some of that. Now also, Eric Goodstall, we got him to put his trout rod down for a few minutes, and he managed to get into a couple nice largemouths using that Ned rig. Now remember, we've been telling you that slow presentation in cooler water is going to be really effective, and you can see here it managed to get him a couple of really nice bass. Now also the shad watch for 2020. Not a lot going on right now. I know everybody was thinking with the warmer spring we've had, or warmer winter, that the shad would be up here by now, but there are a few reports here and there, a few being caught, but it's not that big mass we expected to be up here this time of year. We'll keep an eye out, and as soon as those big runs start making their way upriver, we'll be sure to let you know. So guys, you know, get out and enjoy yourself. Take your family out, be responsible, be safe, but go out and have a good time. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Again, keep in mind that a lot of these government efforts are related to big crowds. They're trying to stem the continued growth of this virus. So they're looking at big crowds and poorly ventilated areas, tight spaces. You're safer at home, yes, but by the same token, outdoors, along the water, bay, river, I think you're in good shape. Practice social distancing. It's a great place to be. If for whatever reason you're nervous or perhaps self-quarantined, you can call your favorite local tackle shop. I'm sure they can set something up, leave some bloodworms right outside the door for you, so you never have to go in. It's that type of shop local loyalty that pays big dividends in the future, and certainly today in the situation we're in. The big shows and flea markets that you would expect for this time of year, not happening, of course. We knew that from the Saltwater Fishing Expo this past weekend. The big Rahway Fishing Flea Market that was scheduled for this Saturday is not going on, but as they say, the show must go on. So folks like Tackle Direct have their big Clearance Canyon, which is always a great event down at their Egg Harbor location. Well, that's moved online specifically this weekend. So if you wanted to shop and you wanted to shop local, go to Tackle Direct, pick up what you need for the season ahead. That's going on this weekend. And there are other things that are happening on a regular basis. What we're trying to do at the Fisherman Magazine's Facebook page, for example, is as businesses have information to share, we're going to try sharing it over at the Fisherman Magazine's Facebook page. Of course, you'll find updated news and information at thefisherman.com. Better yet, make sure you're subscribed right here to our YouTube channel as things break and things get sent to you on a weekly basis. If you're signed up for our YouTube alerts, anytime we update a video, you'll get it. You'll get the notification on your computer. My wife and I were talking about this last week. The last time we felt like this was the immediate days after Sandy, and then we thought about 9/11 and how terrible that felt. But family matters most. We realize that. I know you realize that as well. We've got both of our kids at home, but you got to make the most of it. We can all use a little bit of normalcy in our life. And with a family around us, that's part of the deal. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing that's more normal or adds a dose of normalcy to the everyday life than getting out there and wetting a line. It is definitely the best possible thing you can do until you're told otherwise. I'll tell you what, in last week's video forecast, I was talking about the worm ball. Remember that? Well, I found that video. It's a good how-to video from Matt Calabria and the crew from the Tackle Box. I'll leave you with a worm ball. Catch them up. Stay safe. I'll see you again next week right here at thefisherman.com.
All right, here I'm making a video and showing you guys how I'm baiting my worm rig. So I start off with a 5/0 bait holder, 30-pound fluoro, somewhere around 2-foot leader. So I'm going to start off with a few sandworms here. I'm just barely hooking them just to get them onto the point before I start threading them together. So there's 3 sandworms. Take a little bit of clam tie. Start your initial ball. Just start kind of slowly wrapping them on the hook. Nice and loose. Okay, leave yourself a little bit of tag end. And then I'm taking about 3 more bloodworms and I'm just laying them on the top like this. Okay? Continue with the clam tie. And that's pretty much it. Alright, so this is what I've been using every night, and it's been just doing justice for me. And then what I've been doing to kick it up a notch is taking some of this stuff right here. This is Finessence, the clam scent. You just When you're ready to fish, crack the top open, drop a couple droplets on that bad boy, and cast it out. And if you're fishing every day like me, keep this stuff together. You can get 2-3 days out of this. I can show you a couple of rigs from last night. So this is great. Just put a couple worms on top of this and just keep going. Ready to go fishing. Alright? Fish your flag.